everyone, welcome back to Black Frame. Hope you're all doing great. After covering some recent horror releases, today we're diving into a classic that deserves your attention. We're breaking down The Eye from 2008, a film that'll make you think twice about organ donations. So without wasting any time, let's jump right into it. And if you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss our deep dives into cinema's darkest corners.
You had a life, you were...
The film opens with an elderly woman in absolute panic, being chased by an angry mob of locals who've branded her a witch. When she finally reaches her rundown shack, consumed by desperation, she decides to end it all. But here's where things get creepy. Just moments before taking her own life, she witnesses something terrifying, a dark presence that literally knocks her back. What exactly did she see? Well, buckle up, because we're just getting started. The story shifts to our protagonist, Sydney, a gorgeous young woman who bears a striking resemblance to Jessica Alba. But beauty comes with a price. Sydney has been blind since the age of 5, the result of a tragic fireworks accident in her childhood. Despite this disability, she's incredibly independent and has developed extraordinary skills to navigate her world. When we see her apartment, it's completely dark. Sydney has never needed lights to function, which honestly must save a fortune on electricity bills. But this darkness isn't going to last forever. After years of waiting, Sydney is finally getting a cornea transplant from a generous donor who's given her the gift of sight. Sydney completes the surgery with high hopes that everything will work out perfectly. Her sister Helen is confident about the outcome, especially since the doctor seems highly competent and professional.
That's to help you open your eyes. Slowly, slowly, slowly.
Sydney is overwhelmed with relief when she can finally see again, even though her vision is still quite blurry. The doctor, named Dorot, immediately tests her eyesight. Everything appears normal.
Is that normal?
Yeah, it's perfectly normal.
That night, Sydney wakes up to something disturbing. She sees a dark shadow that seems to be beckoning the patient in the next bed to follow it. "Something's happening," she whispers. Despite her still blurry vision, Sydney rushes to check on her fellow patient.
Kemana?
The strangeness intensifies when the patient suddenly vanishes without a trace. Sydney is completely confused about what she just witnessed. The next morning, Sydney asks about her neighboring patient. She's informed that the woman died last night. Sydney is absolutely shocked when she realizes that what she saw was actually the patient's wandering spirit. Later that day, Sydney undergoes another examination. Seeing that her eyes are healing well, Dorot finally gives her permission to go home. However, she must regularly see an eye specialist named Paul for follow-up appointments. After the examination, Sydney still can't believe she can actually see. With tears streaming down her face, she's overcome with happiness. This moment really makes you appreciate the gift of sight that most of us take for granted.
Oh, thanks. I put them in.
Returning to her apartment, Sydney is greeted by all her friends who want to celebrate her newfound ability to see the world.
It's your cousin, Sarah.
Recognize my voice?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the kitchen. Why don't you?
However, in the midst of the celebration, Sydney, still adjusting to her vision, suddenly experiences an extreme migraine. That night, while counting her blessings, Sydney is startled by strange sounds coming from the kitchen. It turns out to be just a dream, but the weirdness continues when she catches a glimpse of an unfamiliar room that doesn't belong in her apartment. The next day, while training her eyesight, Sydney suddenly hears a child's voice crying for help. Even though her vision is still slightly blurred, curiosity gets the better of her, and she goes to investigate. Sydney is horrified when she sees a young boy in formal clothes, covered in what looks like delivery packaging, trembling as he begs for help.
You're a poor guard.
Father will be so mad at me.
"Father will be so mad at me," the child whispers. Then suddenly, he vanishes. Sydney realizes the boy was another restless spirit. Later, Sydney is doing a recording session and apologizes to her colleague Simon for being so distracted lately. Thinking she's just exhausted, Simon suggests they grab coffee at a local cafe. At the coffee shop, Sydney apologizes again for her inability to concentrate. Simon reassures her that her new vision is making her brain work overtime and things will improve soon. During their conversation, Simon gets up to grab their order, but at that exact moment, Sydney freezes when she sees a pale woman who tells her she can't enter heaven because she's scammed too many people through online shopping apps. Simon notices something is seriously wrong with Sydney. Completely shaken, Sydney immediately excuses herself and rushes home.
I apologize.
Shortly after, Sydney experiences another strange vision while sleeping. When she wakes, these visions are becoming increasingly vivid and real. As if someone is trying to send her a message. What the hell is happening to Sydney? The next day, after all these disturbing anomalies, Sydney finally gets her eyes examined by specialist Paul. However, the examination shows her eyes are perfectly normal. Paul suggests what she's seeing are just hallucinations because she's not yet accustomed to perceiving the visual world.
Should have known.
He knew my history when we got engaged.
That night, while watching TV, Sydney is disturbed by smoke billowing from outside her room. Suddenly, without explanation, she finds herself in the middle of a raging fire. Sydney is absolutely shocked to realize she's experiencing another bizarre phenomenon. Later that night, a stressed Sydney decides to take a walk to clear her head. Suddenly, she literally walks through a woman on the street. While still processing this impossibility, she's shocked to see a crowd gathering nearby. God, the figure she just passed through was the ghost of a woman who'd been killed in a car accident. At that moment, a terrifying dark entity appears, seemingly there to collect the woman's soul. Returning to her apartment building, Sydney feels a chill when she sees a man standing in the elevator, like some kind of health protocol enforcer. Yet on the security camera, this bald figure doesn't appear at all. Sydney becomes increasingly convinced that receiving the donor eyes has made her a medium for the supernatural. She decides to take the other elevator instead.
It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real.
It's not just the bald man haunting her now. The burned child has joined in terrorizing her too. Once inside her apartment, a terrified Sydney decides to smash all the lamps so she won't have to see these horrifying apparitions anymore.
I'm on my way to the airport. Are you okay?
A few days later, accompanied by the building superintendent, a worried Paul tries to check on Sydney. She hasn't answered her phone in 2 days.
Let's do it right. When you were blind, you had a life. You were...
When Paul arrives, he tries to calm Sydney, who's nearly having a breakdown. As a specialist who needs to be reliable, he promises to investigate the abnormalities in Sydney's vision, even if they can't be proven scientifically. While being treated at the hospital, Sydney is disturbed when she sees a bald young boy saying goodbye to her before departing to the afterlife.
Alicia?
Weird. Don't be.
Once again, Sydney must witness someone being taken to the beyond, and it's taking a serious toll on her mental health. Desperate for answers, Sydney researches the side effects of organ transplantation through non-medical sources. According to her findings, organ recipients can sometimes receive memories or visions from the previous owner. Not only that, but these effects can influence the recipient's thoughts and emotions. After discovering this information, Sydney decides to tell Paul. The next day, Sydney shares all her research findings with Paul. She asks him to help identify the actual donor of her eyes. Maybe by finding out who this person was, she can stop all these supernatural occurrences. After showering, Sydney is disturbed when she sees a reflection in the mirror that isn't her own. She realizes that the figure she's looking at is the previous owner of her eyes. Sydney tries to ask what this woman wants from her. Shortly after, Sydney tells her sister that she just saw the woman she believes was her eye donor. Determined to find answers, she decides to investigate this person's identity. The next day, Paul reveals he's successfully identified the donor, a woman named Anna who lived in a rural area of Mexico. Intrigued and desperate, Paul suggests they embark on a long road trip to find out more.
The donor was Ana Cristina Martinez. Hopefully we can track her down. About what?
I'll stop the car.
They almost mistake a spirit for a zombie. Sydney is startled when she sees a restless ghost with severe burns. Sensing they're getting close, she urges Paul to speed up. Upon arrival, Sydney is disturbed to see graffiti reading Bruja, which means witch. Anna's house is covered with hateful messages from the local villagers.
¿Hay alguien aquí?
Hola. ¿Qué quiere?
Emilio.
Inside the house, Anna's mother, Rosa, asks about their visit. Sydney explains she only wants to learn about Anna, who donated her eyes. Upon hearing this, Rosa becomes emotional, knowing that Sydney now possesses her daughter's eyes. Rosa begins telling them about Anna's life, a girl who'd been branded as having supernatural abilities since childhood. But during their conversation, Sydney is shocked when she sees a dark figure approaching Rosa. Moments later, Rosa suddenly suffers a heart attack. They rush to get her to the hospital.
Hey, you got her? Yeah.
Where's your keys?
Hey, open the door. All right, bring her around. Put her. Está bien, Rosa. Vamos. Come on!
I need to stay here.
However, Sydney decides to stay behind at Anna's house to uncover the truth about what really happened. The room layout Sydney saw in her visions turns out to be Anna's actual bedroom. Soon, something strange begins to unfold. Sydney receives a vision showing the events before Anna was labeled a witch. At that time, a panicked Anna tried to warn her mother and all the factory workers to evacuate immediately. Seeing everyone marked by dark, shadowy figures, she declared that everyone in that place was going to die. However, the factory owner didn't believe her and kicked Anna out, accusing her of disrupting his business. When Rosa arrived, the boss ordered her to keep stirring the tapioca mixture. From that incident, Rosa became the only survivor of a massive factory fire. Meanwhile, Anna was branded as a witch and accused of orchestrating the entire tragedy. After this vision, Sydney regains consciousness and hears strange noises from the basement. The basement Sydney saw in her visions was where Anna took her own life. After the fire tragedy, Anna felt so guilty about the workers' deaths that she decided to end her life. After witnessing Anna's death, Sydney tries to comfort Anna's restless spirit. At that moment, Paul returns from the hospital, stunned to find Sydney seemingly talking to herself. Paul informs her that Rosa couldn't be saved. They got her to the hospital too late. He suggests they end this investigation and head home.
On their way back, at the border checkpoint, their journey is delayed due to police arresting car thieves. Meanwhile, Sydney wakes up suddenly, startled by something she sees. She's absolutely shocked when she encounters the same little boy from her dreams.
Sydney!
Realizing something terrible is about to happen, Sydney panics and tries to warn everyone around them. Her panic intensifies when she sees a truck carrying ethanol fuel right in front of them. In her desperation, Sydney begs Paul to trust her. A massive explosion is about to occur. Get out of your car! Seeing the little boy trapped inside a vehicle, they rush to rescue him before the explosion hits. Oh my God! As a result of the incident, Sydney suffers extreme pain after getting glass shards in her eyes. Will Sydney be okay?
At the hospital, when Sydney regains consciousness, she's told that she's successfully saved everyone. However, as a result of the incident, Sydney has lost her sight once again. Nevertheless, Sydney says she feels grateful. She hopes that by saving those people from death, she's helped bring peace to Anna's tormented spirit in the afterlife.
I know gift of Anna's sight made me see what I was afraid.
There you have it, a genuinely tense supernatural thriller. The message is crystal clear. Every blessing comes with hidden challenges, and every challenge might hide an unexpected blessing. The Eye sits at 5.4 on IMDb, which honestly feels about right for this remake. That wraps up our breakdown of The Eye from 2008. If you enjoyed this deep dive, smash that like button, share it with your horror-loving friends, and subscribe to Black Frame so you never miss our next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay dark, stay curious.